Welcome to Dexter New Blood Who Dis podcast, a fan podcast of Dexter New Blood, and we are going to be covering Runaway in this episode. And we ended the last one with a lot of questions about Harrison and Dexter. Harrison lying to Dexter, so we're going to figure out what's going to happen and what we think of the show.
And me, I'm at Ref Marsh. I'm going to be breaking it down with you as we go. We're going to be watching along, effectively pausing to break down as we get through it. So it's going to be pretty close to a live reaction. So give us a follow at WOTR The Show if you want to join that conversation. Otherwise, I say we dig in. Let's kill it. We about to murder this, you know?
Really? What you got?
Yeah,
That's what you got.
Let's slice it up.
Oh my god. All right, here we go.
All right, let's take a stab at it. I'm getting us a slogan.
All right. That's probably your best one yet, actually. I was thinking about the fact that looking back on the recap that they play in the beginning, I'm still just really curious as to how much Harrison remembers and how much he knows, because I mean, if he knew about Dexter's real name, wouldn't he know like that he was a blood splatter analyst, you know?
Yeah.
Not just that he worked at some desk job at Miami police, but he was like, really into understanding how to figure out who's lying. So
yeah, I was wondering that too.
So at the start of this episode, we see that Dexter does confront Harrison on finding the weapon, and Harrison retreats and basically ends their confrontation saying, why would I trust you? Which obviously is, he definitely has a right to say that because he's been abandoned. And Dexter really is trying. You can tell he's just really trying to connect with him, and obviously they miss their wires, they cross their wires again, and so they don't actually resolve anything. And Harrison storms out, and I thought it was really interesting, because you have Harrison who says, "Hey, you're the one living a lie, Jim." And in the next scene, we see Harrison actually, coming to a party, and they've got the kill list on the front of the door. And you see for a split second, Harrison is like almost like guilty in a sense. He's got this look of just, disbelief. And I thought for a second that he was going to say, you know what, this isn't right. Like it be out of guilt. But instead, he has that split second, gets over it, and then just says, all right, let's party, So you see this like really quick, rapid change of like going from being real to, okay, now get into your fake mode. Just like Dexter would always have to do, and like he's continuing to do with this Jim persona, right? So I just thought the similarities are really interesting in this one. That he's so much like Dexter in that he's developing that ability to switch on and off.
Yeah, he's doing with his facial expressions what Dexter does with his monologues.
Internally.
His internal dialogue. You're seeing it on Harrison's face without hearing that internal dialogue. The thing that's also I find interesting with the kill list is like we don't know why specifically Harrison cut the other kid. Was it Sam? I think his name was.
Yeah.
But the list did exist. So the kid wanted to do harm,
Yes, and he said that.
but the kid also didn't necessarily say that he wasn't going to, or that he, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say with this list, it's a list of people who could potentially have been murdered by the hand of the other guy. Did Harrison actually save them by attacking this guy or no? Were they actually in any harm, or was it just a list that a frustrated kid made? You know what I mean?
My theory is that it was just that, a frustrated kid venting, right? Getting bullied. But my theory is that Harrison wanted to stand up for this kid, realize this kid doesn't have whatever it takes to stand up for himself. So what if he actually saved this kid future torment and decided this kid needs to move away, whatever it takes to have this kid move away from these bullies? And what if he did this so that it would happen, so that he gets shunned, right? Or maybe this kid goes away, and yeah, it's not the best of circumstances, but he is away and now his parents are moving, so he's going to be out of the town, right? So in a sense, I could see if Harrison thought this was him saving that tormented kid.
I'm getting the impression they're making it out more almost random, that Harrison just was overwhelmed with this compulsion to stab a kid, and it just happened to be that kid because he knew that kid wouldn't stand up for himself.
All right, so in this episode, Harrison ODs, and he survives, and Dexter's, beside himself. But it was a little wild because that party, I was just really on the edge of my seat, wondering if Harrison was going to take that knife and stab someone out of rage and, not feeling like himself or really feeling like himself. And then the carve my name in my foot, like that was wild. And then also I was confused at the reaction of the chick who told him to do that, and then him freaking out at the sight of blood or her reaction. I wasn't sure, but that was a little crazy to me. And
He may have cut deeper than either of them considered.
yeah, and I thought it was interesting that this is the thing that made, of course, Dexter run back to Harrison, because in their confrontation they didn't, nothing came to fruition. They still just are butting heads. They're not communicating. And so this is what really made Dexter go into what he thinks is full dad mode, right? He's the protector, and he's trying to, to keep everything bad away from Harrison. But obviously, he can't do that. So he tries to go after the drug dealer. And this was a little crazy to me, because we see Dexter just full on planning to attack this dealer who didn't kill Harrison, right? And also we don't know if this is the dealer who mixed the drugs. We don't know, right? But it's crazy to think that Dexter is stepping so far away from the code. He is by no means like following anything Harry said at this point, besides cover your tracks, and even that he's doing kind of sloppily.
Yeah, when he goes after the Miles kid, my first thought was I guess we'll find out if his goal is to communicate or talk to this Miles kid. Because I was like, well, what if he, drugs and puts him in the kill room and says, who put you up to this or some shit, you know what I mean? But because the kid could just be someone down the line. He could be someone who's not getting it, making it, or anything, just someone who's down the line of it all. And did the kid kill anybody that he knows of? Right. He didn't check into him at all. He literally just goes to a bar, asks for Miles, and then fucking injects him. And I was like, all right, well, I guess that's pretty far away. Yeah, and we're led to believe that he was definitely going to kill him. He's getting the garbage bags, the plastic, right, the syringe. So that I think is really interesting in that we don't have like a direct compass of what is of where Dexter's going mentally, right? We just have his reactions of Harrison. Really, every time it's not like a planned out thing that he has anymore of I need to follow this way. Now it's literally just reacting to everything that happens to Harrison. Yeah, he did say that having a kid is the most vulnerable you can be, and said that he hates being vulnerable. So maybe part of that vulnerability is just a lack of code, And then what really throws us for a loop, right? The biggest part, I think,
the biggest flashback that becomes reality is we see someone from Dexter's past. So his girlfriend goes to the cop conference in New York City, and who shows up but Batista.
Yep.
And he is just, I'm like in pins and needles. Because he's there, right? He's gonna do his detective or his police speech, and I'm wondering if he's going to talk about past cases, and I wonder if he's going to show a picture of Dexter. You know, somewhere down the line, if he talks about cases that have crossed paths, right? Because that's the topic of this convention. And hell, Dexter was a part of a lot of these cases, especially being, you know, his wife being a victim.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if Angel would show a picture of Dexter versus his girlfriend showing Angel a picture of her boyfriend, but I don't know how that would come up in a professional setting. So it's very curious, and it does put someone real close to Dexter without being close to Dexter, which is really neat. We'll see how it plays out. I did really love the Plan B thing where Dexter's about to get caught by the sheriffs injecting that Miles kid, so he just starts beating the shit out of him and yelling, "Stay away from my kid!" So good.
Yeah, I mean, he does still have that improvise on the fly tactic at his disposal. He's kind of gaining that back, whereas when he just got started killing again, he, you know, was just really flustered, right? That's when he lost, or he had blood all over the place and had to clean it up in the early episodes. But I do think it's interesting, and I know we haven't really discussed her much, but the podcaster who is pretty much funding the trip for the girlfriend, Angela, she's saying, "Oh, I'll put you up. We can do this whole, you know, tag team thing. We'll figure this out. We'll discover these cases because that's what I do. I'm a criminal podcast, you know, fan or whatever." And I'm partly wondering if the way that Angela figures this out, that who Dexter is I'm wondering if Batista shows a picture of Trinity and his last victim, and then we see, oh yeah, that's the last one I did, and starts sharing with Angela. Yeah, this is what happened. And I don't know. I'm just wondering if somehow that is how Harrison and Dexter get exposed of who they really are.
That could be the podcaster. And them working together on this has been really fun. One other thing that we haven't talked much on is the Runaway with Kurt. Yeah. There is something about this new blue-haired Runaway that does seem different, almost expecting her to not get shot and killed, but I also feel it's too early in the kill spree to spare her, but there's something different about her. I'm wondering what she's going to expose for us at the very least. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and this is the episode where we see Kurt in the bar dancing to this same song, right? The song that he puts on when he's about to let her run and shoots her. So I don't see exactly what the song is referencing to besides that. I'm sure we'll find out, but yeah, he's a creepy one. So this episode we see the young woman in the basement room, locked doors, and she's trying to figure out how to get out. And she does something that no one has probably done before, where she tries to seduce him and get control of the situation, right? So she's undoing her top, and Kurt becomes really agitated and says, "Stop it." She doesn't do that, and then he just, you know, closes the laptop. So she's trying to gain control, trying to figure the situation out. And when she does finally confront him, well...
Yeah, so she flashes him saying, "Why don't you just come take me?" And he said, "It's not what this is about." When he gets angry enough to close the laptop, she can see that he's no longer connected to the camera, and she gets upset. But then she reaches underneath the pillow and shows that she's holding a shard of glass, a weapon. So she's trying to get some sort of control and get him to go into that room so she can try and kill her way out of there effectively. So it seems to... I guess we don't know his process as far as timetables go, but it feels like it was expedited because the next time we see him, he's in the gear, he's got the ski mask, And now he pops the door and says, go ahead and run. And she doesn't. She says, why don't you come and make me? As he's coming down there, she grabs that weapon. They tussle. She cuts him across the cheek. He has to drag her out and tells her to run. And instead of running away from him and him getting the chance to shoot her in the back like he does everyone else, she runs towards him and he shoots her in the eye. And he starts crying, saying, "You've ruined everything. It's not supposed to be like this."
Yeah.
He's very emotional about it. So she did expose something about him, but she also did ultimately die. Yeah.
And then after she's on the ground and he's getting frustrated that she even did that, right? Because you made me do this.
Yeah.
He then shoots her in the chest. And this really made me think of original Dexter, and it made me think of Trinity, right? Because when Trinity comes into contact with his daughter, and his daughter's the one that actually, kind of quote unquote ruins the whole trail, right? With the lead detective now investigating him. I remember the line where he's just on the phone with her. And he's like, "You ruin everything. You did this, and I don't ever want to talk to you again," basically. Yeah. And this makes me think so much of Trinity in that, like, I know they're, like, right now we don't know that they're connected, but to me they are so connected in that he's got this weird ritual we don't fully understand because we still aren't getting his backstory. But the fact that he is so emotional about his kills is like, okay, he is like Trinity, and that it's suggested that he's been doing this for a very long time.
Yeah. And like you said, ritualistically and habitually, and it always goes a certain way. And this one girl, she, quote, ruined it.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out what it is about seeing someone's face versus them running away and having that control. What is it? What is the difference, really? What makes him that emotional about it is the thing.
Yeah, it's got to be something about the hunt, right? Someone's running away and he snipes them, he hunts them, where this one, she's running towards them, and this probably felt more like murder to him than anything else he's done. You know what I mean? Everything else probably felt like a hunt and a kill, but this probably felt like murdering a human.
Okay. And what happened to Trinity when that happened? He just disassociated with his daughter completely. So with this, I don't know how he's going to get over this emotional hump.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I did in fact call it in that.
Nailed
it. In that.
Take a stab at it.
Angela does end up talking with Batista. And who do they mention? They mention Trinity. And this is where I was like, this is it. This is where she's going to start thinking. And of course, he's like, okay, yeah, there was this really crazy case happened. She's like, oh, how'd you solve it? He's like, well, there was this badass detective. Yeah, Detective Morgan. And I was at the edge of my seat going, oh my God, this is it. And then he's like, oh yeah, and a brother. Yeah, it was crazy. He had a really cute kid. What was his name? Oh, Harrison. And Angela gets that look of, hold up.
Right, but it's a name of a kid. So the only thing that she's really got to go on is it reasonable to suspect that one kid named Harrison traveled across country to her town, happens to be the son of the nephew of this dead. She doesn't have anything tangible. It's just a name.
But Batista did just tell her, so urging her, listen to your gut. And when her gut is saying, hold on, this is all a little wild. How much do I really know about Jim, right? Yes, they've been together for years, but he came out of nowhere. I really do wonder how much of a backstory he's told Angela. What kind of crazy lie has he spun? We don't know.
Right, but someone moving to town named Jim, who has a long-lost son named Harrison showing up, isn't super connected, but it could give her a gut feeling of, this seems a little weird. I just think it's a bit early to jump to she's figured it out.
I'm just saying she's got a gut feeling. Harrison and Jim clearly don't get along well. We don't really know the the details, and she doesn't really ever pry. That's the one thing that's really interesting and different about her versus Deb, because I've always thought that she was very like Deb, and Batista saw it too. He's like, oh yeah, you know.
Harrison did tell her that his mom was dead.
He did say that. He didn't explain who or what. However, I am wondering if what Harrison told the daughter right at the party when he was all on the drugs, like, I wonder if when he said, yeah, you know, he's not even named Jim, that's not even his real name. And the fact that she knows the, she already knows the mom's dead, but I'm wondering if that is what's going to be the connecting link. What if the daughter, you know, casually says, oh yeah, it was crazy when he was on drugs, he said this thing. I'm wondering if the girlfriend's going to pick up on that and connect the dots.
Yeah, well, maybe.
So, turns out I was right again.
Right again.
Nailed it. So we come to find out that Angela's daughter does mention to her mom that, yeah, Harrison said some weird stuff. He said that his dad wasn't actually Jim. And she looks into it and she finds out that he is, in fact, Dexter Morgan, and prints out a clip of his little obituary in the paper. So
I want to be honest, this is the first episode I'm getting real annoyed with the production timetables. Like,
yeah.
Beginning with Dexter breaking into Jasper's house. He was suddenly on the second floor and he climbed through the window, but they didn't explain how he was going downstairs from there.
Yeah.
Then when he goes and kills Jasper, he looks outside and sees the cops showing up, and he's able to...
Well, he's interrupted by his kill.
Yeah, and then he makes this whole new scene, cleans up everything that was him, sneaks out of the building with a SWAT team surrounded,
the only thing I guess I could see, but would still be a stretch, is if he was already at his house and he was in like one of his little outhouses, a Jasper's house, but still not explained. So it, to me, just looks like they messed up on their timeline.
Yeah, but then this also didn't make sense with her finding Dexter's obituary. Her daughter says, Harrison said Jim isn't his real name. She gets this look on her face, 6 keystrokes on a keyboard, and then hits print and has the Dexter Morgan obituary. She just knew to go ahead and Google obituary for Dexter Morgan.
I'm hoping that they actually explain how she came to that information, because the Jasper house really threw us off.
I mean, the timeline there started getting messed up because they're in Jasper's house. He then goes and digs up heroin, makes him OD, sets up a whole new scene, and sneaks out of the house that is currently surrounded. That's where I was like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I do wish that they would explain a little bit more of how he's able to get out of these situations, because in original Dexter, it's very clear and defined how he gets in and out of these jams, right? And this one just it's a little disappointing, this scene.
He's flying in and out of a second-story window.
Yeah.
At this point, twice unseen.
Yeah.
Potentially 3 times.
Yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous. But the thing that gets me about the obituary is that she spent no time searching anything. She sits down, types out the name Dexter.
We don't know what she searched. Like, that's the thing. We don't see how she got there.
Well, we know that she didn't spell out an entire sentence. She clicked maybe 6 buttons, and then we'll go, there you go. That's what I was looking for. Like, she didn't even look up Trinity Killer. She didn't look up Deborah Morgan. Didn't look up anything connecting. Like, she didn't have to go through a series. The only information she had was that the Trinity Killer was caught by a Deborah Morgan who died along with her brother in Florida. And she would have to go through that.
Well, and she also thought Harrison, the detective mentioning Harrison.
I'm saying those are the connections that she has, with Harrison.
Yeah.
The only information that she has that would actually lead to a Dexter Morgan obituary is the Trinity killing and Deborah Morgan. She would have had to dig up who Deborah's brother was. When did she die?
Yeah.
When would he have died? Was it similar? Like, she would have at least had a back and forth with Batista.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Unless she like, no, I mean, she typed in just a couple things.
Yeah.
I would hope that she would at least email Batista and said, "Hey, out of curiosity, can you send me some of that information?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't get any of that. She just sits down. 6 keystrokes later, here it is.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being a little nitpicky on that, but
yeah,
that annoyed me because I usually feel like I'm understanding how we're getting places, and this feels like there was a few leaps today.
Yeah, this definitely feels like they're rushing the story almost, and that they want to get to this place, and this is how they're just like, oh, we'll make it happen. Just somehow he gets out of the house, So I do hope that in the next episode it's a little bit more explained. And yeah, I mean, there are quite a few things that I do hope that they kind of go over. Obviously, like how much does Harrison know, right? Because we still don't really know that. Of all the scenes we've seen with Dexter and Harrison, we don't know how much he remembers even. I mean, yeah, he said, oh, hardly anything, but it's not explained, right? Yeah. Dexter doesn't probe him for any questions. Like, he doesn't say, okay, well, what about this? What about this? And at the same time, Dexter's also just he's not communicating fully with Harrison, and it just keeps causing Harrison to shut down to the point where Harrison just abandons the home, right? During the time when Dexter's doing his hunting and his kill. He abandons the home, and then he meets up with Kurt. Kurt sees him walking home, or walking out of town, I should say, and says, hey, let me buy you a hot plate, and tries to give him some fatherly advice. And a job. We see Kurt actually kind of doing the same thing he would do when he, with all the other young women that he takes in and eventually kills. So I was wondering, oh, this is going to be his next kill, right? He's kind of schmoozing him because that's what he does. And, Marsh over here is like, no, it doesn't. He doesn't fit the code or the bill, right? It's a dude. It's not a woman. And I think maybe this last kill is making him think, you know what the hell? Let me just loosen my rule a little bit.
I don't think he has any desire to kill Harrison. I think he's just trying to give him a job because he has the diner. I mean, he even talked about it before in the first episode we see him. How many of your kids have worked at my truck stop,
That's true.
He gives those kids jobs out there. But I think Harrison's just being a dick. Like, my problem with Harrison is...
He's a kid.
He's being a kid, but so literally his problem with Dexter is that he's not able to effectively fool Dexter. So everyone he talks to buys into Harrison's bullshit, and so he goes, how are you so good to me? You're so smart. You're the only one who trusts me. But then he'll lie to Dexter's face. Dexter say, oh yeah, I can tell you're lying. And then it's like, fuck you, old man. And he walks off. Like, yeah. Harrison is equal to blame on all of this, I do agree with what you were saying, though. I do feel like that this was an episode that was written almost it felt like hastily. That it was, hey, by the end of this episode, she has to know Dexter Morgan died, and that's probably Jim. And because everything that they dropped today that was a hint towards that was also paid off today. In one episode, they said, oh, let's drop a little seedling. And then a couple minutes later, it's like, okay, now we're going to move it along a little bit. And then at the end, it's like, oh, and here's your payoff. Yeah. I was like, I thought this was going to take like 2 or 3 episodes before she was... Right. I also thought it might not be till the end of the first season that she goes, wait a second.
Me too.
Yeah. But this felt like, as much as the story's been progressing slowly to stuff, this one episode felt like, okay, we have to get to this spot by now.
Yeah. And I'm curious as to how many seasons they're anticipating or planned out, because this has moved along so fast. And I also find it curious that Dexter never ever considers that his girlfriend or anyone will find out, right? You never have that moment of, like, okay, what am I going to say? What's my backup story, right? Whereas in original Dexter, we did have for a long time, Dexter was very anxious for, when or if Deb ever finds out who he really is, and they played out her reactions or what he would say, and with this one, he doesn't even consider that his girlfriend will ever find out.
Yeah, but I think it's also fair because he wasn't killing the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't hiding anything behind her back in that regard. And there was no one out there that was anywhere remotely related to anything he ever did in Florida. So he had no reason to suspect that it ever could come up. Till Harrison shows up.
Yeah, I think with Harrison, that really should have stepped up his. It really should have made him step up his game and, like, plan Bs. And I feel like with this whole New Blood series, Dexter never has a plan B for like anything. Yeah. He always is just reacting to everything. So in this case, I'm really wondering in the next episode what we're going to have him, what he's going to say to his girlfriend, like, I just don't know what all is what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No clue.
But yeah, I love seeing older folks from original Dexter in new blood, being Batista. I just love to see them, in their new character, which obviously he's like this old, been around the block, person in charge now, and it's always really fun for me to see that.
Yeah, love the addition of Batista for sure.
I was also thinking that, Dexter isn't considering that with Deb, the only reason she didn't shoot him in the container was because she loved him, because that was her brother she grew up with, right? This is going to be different because if given the chance, we don't know that his girlfriend wouldn't shoot him and kill him. I mean, she didn't grow up with him, right? She didn't, like, there's no other bond other than, oh, he was a boyfriend I loved. But, this is a completely different situation. And I don't think he's really taking that into account.
Yeah, I take that into account every day.
Okay.
I always just consider the idea that at any moment you could turn on me.
Okay, well, don't kill people.
All right. Air quotes.
Well, thanks for tuning in to Dexter New Blood. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you think. If you've got any theories, how you're liking the season, we're still really into it. And if you were into original Dexter, I don't understand how you aren't into New Blood. But yeah, let us know what you think.
Yeah, join the conversation at WOTR the show. You can slide into those DMs if you'd like. At Ref Marsh, if you want to tell me up my ass about all of my theories, go ahead and make a comment on the YouTube, whatever it takes. You can put the I in subscribe and the no in notifications.
Yep.
It works.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for taking a stab at it with us.